Triangular crafts have always been a common UFO description, but it's a newer idea that this could actually have been the US government the entire time. From mysterious exotic patents, to scientific studies being done, even to the military-industrial complex, all of these are details we will cover today. Firstly, let's discuss the typical description. People commonly describe black, triangular craft hovering barely above treetops and completely silent. Most of the sightings involve 3 illuminated spots beneath the craft, while some mention lights behind or surrounding the craft. Now with this, there are different aircraft that people suspect here. Of course, people's first idea is that these are alien craft because they don't seem to match what we know about physics due to their ability to hover in complete silence with no visible means of propulsion, and they don't match any characteristics of known aircraft. The 2 common suspected crafts are the TR3A and TR3B. These are often used interchangeably, but they're actually different. The TR3A, also known as Black Manta, is described as a triangular craft that is almost silent, but not quite. It's reported to be a stealth craft for tactical reconnaissance, which is what the TR in TR3A stands for, and rumored to have been deployed along F-117s in the Persian Gulf War, although there's not much evidence for this. The TR3B, known as the Astra, is described as a completely silent successor of the TR3A using reverse-engineered alien technology, making it an ARV, an alien reproduction vehicle. The TR3A is described as having anti-gravity properties, while the TR3B is described as having true anti-gravity abilities, and patents from both the US military and military-industrial complex companies seem to support this. A lot of witnesses of these triangular crafts tied these sightings to these suspected US government crafts, these TR3A and TR3B. Now this may seem far-fetched, but this is nothing new to the US government. The B-2 stealth bomber, F-117, and the Boeing bird of prey, all of which the US government actively denied having any of these while simultaneously flying them, which is how black projects within the US government work. Black projects are highly classified research and development programs within the US government, shrouded in extreme secrecy and typically for military advancement. They're hidden to obscure knowledge of their operations, their funding, and to be shielded from any public or political oversight. Both the TR3A and TR3B are rumored to be part of the Black program Aurora, which is part of the Black program Immaculate Constellation, which was recently exposed in a public US government hearing on UFOs.
Statement is there is a document that will be entered into the congressional record today. Mr. Tim Burchett from Tennessee has this document, and we just distributed it to every member up here on the dais of this document. But this is going to be the original document from the Pentagon about Immaculate Constellation that Michael Schellenberger delivered to Congress today. So thank you, Mr. Schellenberger, for this information. We are all reading it in real time.
Again, this seems far-fetched, but in the 1990s, NIDS, the National Institute for Discovery Science, funded by Robert Bigelow, did a study on triangle UFO sightings across the US, leading to a few interesting conclusions. 1. Sightings were spread throughout the country, but clustered on both coasts, which follows the same pattern for military base placements. There was a direct correlation with increased triangular craft sightings and Air Mobility Command and Air Force Material Command bases in the US. But their other conclusion was that these didn't follow standard procedure for covert Department of Defense aircraft. They were seen near dense population centers, near highways and interstates, seen in plain lines of sight by eyewitnesses, and had noticeable bright lights.
And nobody shoots in a 5-gun section. There's more lights around it.
No, this is so this happened back in 2021, and of course, I thought it was flares at first. A bunch of Marines started coming to me. I was able to find them within 36 hours. they saw a craft. So this is not something lights in the sky. They actually saw the body, the shape of the craft, and you see that in the low light photo. So they basically said, you know, what's going on? What is this? And I was worried about the reporting process. We dug into it for a number of years. Luckily, they shot up lumen flares, so you can see the difference of what a lumen flare is. And most flares, they last within 1 minute to 3 minutes max. This object, or I'll say craft because you can see the body of it, sat there from 10, some reports say up to 25 minutes unmoving.
Now, let's discuss the connection to the military-industrial complex. Research shows correlations of sightings with locations of military bases, but that could just be coincidental. One of the earliest connections goes back to 1991, where articles Aviation Week and Popular Mechanics seemingly exposed the US government's Black Triangle craft to the public. Aviation Week stated it had sources that claimed it was made by Northrup Grumman, who also made the B-2 and the F-117. They also claimed the Air Force awarded Northrop a contract in 1978 to build a prototype, that the craft took its first flight in 1981, and a production contract was awarded in 1982. All of this was rumored to be happening at a military facility in Groom Lake, commonly known as Area 51, which happens to be where the B-2 was built, tested, and produced as well. The issue with a craft with anti-gravitic properties is the amount of energy that would be needed to sustain flight. And, interestingly enough, another military-industrial complex company, Lockheed Martin, known to work very closely with the US government, has patents for fusion reactors that encapsulate magnetic fields for plasma confinement that could be small enough to fit inside the fuselage of an F-16, a craft much smaller than the rumored size of the TR3B. In principle, this patent shows technology that could produce a large amount of power from an exponentially smaller reactor compared to conventional reactors used in flight, which also means it would significantly reduce overall mass. This aligns with another detail of the TR3B, that 89% of the craft's mass is actually reduced to the point of only 11% of the mass actually needing to be supported by the 3 thrusters. The US Navy also happens to have similar patents seemingly related to TR3B technology. One is for a triangular craft using an inertial mass reduction device to reduce mass, which again matches the description of the functionality of the TR3B, and another that is a gravitational wave generator to produce your own gravity. Both of these patents were invented by Salvatore Pais, a common name in Black Project UFO circles. There's also a US Navy slide from a presentation released through the FOIA Act referencing this technology. But the issue is that these are public patents. Back in 1951, the US military reserved the right with the Invention Secrecy Act to be able to file patents not available for public viewing. Additionally, these patents were filed after 2016, multiple decades after the craft is rumored to have been created. But some believe this is due to either the fact that it's old technology that the US has since surpassed and so there are no concerns releasing it to the public stream of scientific knowledge, while others believe it may have been released to have the scientific community contribute to more discoveries. Another common name that comes up with TR3B-esque patents is John St. Clair, who happened to live in Madison, Wisconsin until his death in 2021. He is the inventor of this triangular spacecraft patent, commonly associated with the TR3B craft. But St. Clair has some credibility issues. He's filed many patents commonly rumored to be connected to reverse engineering from alien crafts, but many of these are officially listed as abandoned. These peculiar patents include a system for walking through walls, a hyperspace torque generator, magnetic vortex wormhole generator, full body teleportation system, remote viewing amplifier, and an electric dipole spacecraft. But a patent is not required to have proven feasibility to be published, and all of these patents have since been listed as abandoned. Another name that comes up often but has a lot more credibility, and is a name you'll be very familiar with if you watch a lot of Jesse Michaels, is Thomas Townsend Brown. Brown is a very popular name in circles claiming to have insider knowledge of the US government's projects concerning reverse engineered alien craft. Brown patented an electrokinetic apparatus describing a method to generate propulsion using electrical potentials rather than conventional engines. Some key points from this patent is that his invention could create force and motion directly from electrical energy, which would eliminate mechanical parts that would reduce weight, space, and energy loss, and he specifically aimed to create a self-propelled vehicle without moving parts, something consistent with the description of the TR3B. His concept focuses on moving the medium, rather than the craft itself, matching how anti-gravities are typically theorized, as crafts moving through the mediums around them, rather than moving through the medium, which explains why they appear to be able to go through all terrains, air, space, and water, with seemingly no resistance. So what do we do with all of this? We have decades of sightings, base correlations, leaked documents, anti-gravity research, military-industrial patents, and testimony from engineers and insiders, yet we still don't have a single official confirmation that the TR3A or TR3B ever existed. When you pull all of the threads together, the witness reports, experimental propulsion patents, electrogravitic research dating back to Townsend Brown in the 1950s, modern Navy mass reduction patents, and the long history of aircraft the US denied for years, you start to see a pattern emerge. America has repeatedly flown technology decades before the public knew it was real, so the idea of a TR3B isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. If the TR3B is real, it would represent the single biggest leap in aerospace engineering in human history, rewriting physics as we know it. And if it isn't, then thousands of witnesses across continents are all seeing something that behaves nothing like a conventional aircraft. Either way, the military connections, base correlations, and black budget ties make it hard to believe this is all just coincidence. Whether these black triangles come from a secret American program, or from a source that isn't human at all, the pattern stays the same. They're seen, they're reported, and they're denied. For now, the black triangles remain exactly what they've always been: silent, unconfirmed, and hiding in plain sight.